A new week, the post-trial week. And of course, we'll be talking about that a little bit. I'm Johnny Narola. We got a full show coming up for you. And because today is Monday, that means that Francesca Fiorentini is going to be joining us, which is always awesome, and you're going to love it. Not only for the full show, but also every Monday what we do for our Level 2 and Level 3 YouTube members is we record a little top 10 list, a little bit of bonus content, sometimes about politics, sometimes not. Last week, I think, was our top 10. It was the highlights as he was going away of Lou Dobbs, actually. Some of the most ridiculous things he's said over the past few years. Now, because we did not get a conviction of Donald Trump, and I am assuming he won't be impeached again, although who knows, anything could happen in 2024. This week, what we're going to be doing are, Francesca and I are going to be offering up 10 of the things that he really should have been impeached over, perhaps more so than the things he actually was. So, or should have been convicted, should have been removed as a result of. So that should be a lot of fun. It'll be up a little bit later on today for our Level 2 and Level 3 members. So if you're interested in seeing that, as well as the back catalog of all the other top 10 lists we've done, which I think is about 8 at this point, you can become a member. And let's see, we've got a lot that we're going to be talking about on the show. In terms of talking about what happened over the weekend and the actual acquittal and all of that, that's going to be on the show because I want to get Francesca's perspective on it. But I do have a little bit sort of related to it in the pre-show, as well as a variety of bits of news about other things. And I want to start off with one or two stories that have nothing to do with any of all of that stuff happening in D.C. This was something I saw. It was at an Anytime Fitness in Edgewater, Illinois. There was a 30-year-old who decided it's February of 2021, and what I want to do is go viral for being an a-hole about masks. After all of this, almost 500,000 dead, I'm gonna complain that they want me to wear a mask at a gym. Like, I'm in an area that's allowing gyms. How lucky that I get to go to, like, here in LA, I can't go to the gym. Like, it's been closed down since the very beginning. I haven't been to the gym. Oh, clearly, I haven't been to the gym in a very long time. This person's lucky enough to actually have that, to have trainers and be able to do all that. But that isn't good enough. And so, this individual, I'm not going to use names. The last name is Myers. I'll just say that. Got into a fight with one of the personal trainers because the personal trainer was reminding this individual that we have a mask policy. Presumably, they've known about this mask policy for some time. But this person yelled at the trainer saying, if you had just kept your fucking mouth shut and not played games, I'd be working out right now and you'd be minding your own business, which that's not a good line of thought. Asking someone to wear a mask isn't playing games. I know that, like, you call it playing games because then it makes it seem as if it's some sort of pointless waste of time. They're just reminding you of what I imagine as a long-standing requirement to work out in the gym. And yes, in this case, they would be minding their own business, but the concern wouldn't have gone away. It's not like you brought it up and there was no reason to, it would have been fine. No, it's the actual regulation. You do have to actually wear it. But you want to be the big guy and you want to play games. Well, congratulations, dumbass. This is like a person who just had like bad 90s movie dialogue written for them and isn't actually thinking about the relationship between their dialogue and the situation that they're actually in. They're just pointing out the rules. Like, no, see, you could have just had your mask on and then you'd be working out, okay? And no one would need to get into your business because you wouldn't be violating the rules. It would be very simple. If you just shut your mouth and put a mask over it, you wouldn't be any trouble. Then yells at the trainer, it's a joke. You're ruining my fucking country. First of all, you're a 30-year-old, okay? I guess it's our country as much as anyone's, but like, you don't get to talk about it like you're like fucking Ben Franklin or something. And anyway, that person called the cops, the one who wasn't wearing the mask. And it's so weird, after like attacking the trainer, that person got arrested for trespassing and battery. It's freaking February, man. How many times have we been through this? And it's not just that this person wanted to be one of these male Karens. It's that they went beyond that. Most of those people got away with it. This person wasn't satisfied until they were actually arrested and banned from that gym. So again, like, It's the disconnect between the dialogue. If you had just kept your mouth shut to stop the expelling of disease particles, you'd still be working out. You'd be perfectly fine. You decided to not abide by the rules, the very easy to follow rules. I would love to be able to go back to the gym. Even if I did have to wear a mask, it would be great. Not that lucky. This person was very lucky and decided that's not good enough. Chakoseki says, who needs shoe polish when you have such a dedicated and committed bootlicker like Lindsey Graham? We should reclassify him as an invertebrate. Exactly. Yeah, we're going to be talking about those who wouldn't vote to convict. Oh, God. Hello, all. Thank you for your messages. Sea Salt Chip says, good morning, John. How many cups of coffee are you on after that early appearance on Ben Dixon's show? So I've drank 2, and I'm really going to try to stop it there. I've been having some issues recently with some sort of like tension headaches or something, and I don't know exactly how the caffeine plays into it. That's the vicious thing where you don't know if it means that you've had too much or that you haven't yet had enough. But either way, it's a problem, and so I'm going to have to reevaluate that. Coney Jag says, Cougar Dragon here, been watching trials, so wasn't able to comment live on your nice butt. I wouldn't tease so much, but you're so cute when you blush. Jesus. Well, thank you for that. Dawn says, saw you on Ben's show. Good job, Dragon Daddy. So I was very glad to be on Ben Dixon's show. He didn't actually tell me where that was streaming, so I don't know where people were watching. I imagine it was live on YouTube. Obviously, I couldn't watch because I was on it at the time. Connor Thorne says, hi, John. Happy late birthday to you and your wife. Today is my birthday, and I have the day off work due to snow. Much happier to be here instead. Connor, happy birthday. Hope you're making the most of it. We had some good birthdays, the wife and I. Is this live, William? Yes, this is live. Okay, now, let's talk about some other news. So, somewhat related to the trial and everything, but not directly. Super fast update on Lynnwood. So, it's just a reminder. All of these figures who over the past few months were involved in this whole thing are still out there. Like, Giuliani's still out there, Sidney Powell is still out there, and Lynnwood very much is still out there. So, Georgia is apparently looking into the possibility of disbarring him for, being a lawyer, a registered lawyer on the bar who just spent months filing frivolous lawsuits and repeating debunked lies. Anyway, it hasn't been actually disbarred. They're just considering it. And so in response, Lynnwood decided to really point out to them how important it is that they get him out of the public eye as much as possible, because he was so angry that they're going to be filing this complaint and possibly disbarring him that he posted on social media saying, if you have any information that might impact the competency, qualifications, or objectivity of any members, the ones who might disbar him, would you email the information to me? Their social media posts, political affiliations, representative clients. For example, what if one or more of them represent Dominion? Dominion doesn't control everything. Jesus! Maybe it's a true believer. Maybe Lynnwood really is a true believer. Lawsuits filed against them, etc., would all potentially provide me with relevant information that could form the basis of a challenge. And then he posted a picture listing all of the officials' names and addresses. And why do you need to have their address to find out what clients that they've worked on or their competency? No, you don't give out their addresses for that. You give out their addresses so that people will have their addresses and then can go to their addresses. And when you're talking about your Patriot Army and you're giving people a physical location to go to attack people that not only are your enemy, like they agree on the face that this is an enemy of Lynnwood, but that you're saying are involved with Dominion and the big steal and the lie and all that stuff, well then what you're doing is you're doxing them. I mean, that's the technical definition, but you're trying to threaten them. And so if Georgia needed any more evidence that this is a person who's fundamentally irresponsible, dangerous, he's providing that in real time. Who knows? Maybe he'll be lucky enough that he'll get through this only having lost some of his social media accounts, but he doesn't seem happy so far with that as the sum total of his consequences. Lindsey Graham. Getting really sick of Lindsey Graham, by the way. Anyway. Okay, well, why don't we jump, because we only got a couple more things. Why don't we jump to the headline story? And really, it isn't much of a story. But I want to just briefly, you and I, to talk about some possibilities. Because after Donald Trump was acquitted, The Wall Street Journal put out an article saying Trump won't win another election. He may run again, but he's not going to win another national election. And so this is intended as a sort of a warning shot to Republicans that you need to stop basing all of your activity on the idea that Donald Trump is going to rise again. And whether it's because you think that's a good thing and you want to be in his good graces when he rises again, or because you're worried about him potentially lashing out at you and so you're just going along with everything, they're saying he might run, he's not going to win, stop assuming that he will. And honestly, I don't know. At this point, I really don't know. I can make predictions. It's very easy for some people to make predictions, like Hugh Hewitt saying Trump could win again because it is always a choice between two candidates. That's very sharp analysis. Yes, it is physically in the realm of possibility that it could happen. How likely is it to happen? Well, look, that might seem like just sort of a pointless intellectual exercise, but that calculation is what a lot of Republicans are making. That explains a lot of their behavior. I can say that whatever evaluation of this you make or I make, they are too scared. I don't think that most Republicans are doing what they're doing because they think there's a 100% chance that Trump will run and win again, or even that they think there's a 51% chance. I think that to some of them it is risk avoidance. That even if they think it's a 20% chance, that 20% chance, if it were tied with the destruction of their political ambitions and career, which it might be, if they were to spend their time between now and that 20% chance providing consequences for him for the things that he's done, isn't worth it. That whatever gain they'd get for standing up for democracy or the Republican Party or the Constitution or whatever isn't worth the much smaller chance that they could lose everything were he to run again. And at this point, I don't know what all their calculations are. I can only say what I think. And I do sometimes switch on this, admittedly. I try to update my opinions and my predictions based on what's happening. It does seem difficult to imagine him running and winning again. Running again, possibly. Remember, these are two very different things. Him being involved in politics is one thing. Him supporting specific candidates is another thing. Him running for president is another thing altogether, and him actually winning as a result of that is the fourth thing. And I'll work backwards. So the fourth thing, he did lose. I think that in a couple of years, there is going to be some forgetting of this time. I think some people a lot of it will start to have blurred a bit, and that might work to his benefit, especially if we've reached that point where the Democrats haven't done much because they didn't get rid of the filibuster and the Republicans blocked everything for the next 4 years. Maybe a bit of nostalgia or a belief that at least things were happening could work for him. I mean, remember, he lost to Biden. He lost in the actual popular vote to Clinton. He was down throughout the entire 2020 election against a wide variety of different Democrats. He never polls well against any of these. And so to some extent, it would again probably depend on the Electoral College. And so we would have to see what's going to happen in Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, those sorts of states. What sorts of laws will be passed? Will it be easier or harder to vote by then? Economically, how will they be? Donald Trump running and losing and creating riots again that was brought up during the trial, and I do think that is a legitimate concern, that he could run again just like he ran the first time, not really expecting that it would work, but that it would be to his benefit in some way, and that is potentially dangerous. I think that him running and winning has a very low chance of actually happening. Him running seriously, I think, isn't super assured. Him running could mean almost anything. That could be him doing a couple of appearances and some rallies. Is that the same as actually running? I don't know. Donald Trump in 3 years is going to be 3 years older and more Donald Trumpy than he is now. Is that going to help him in debates? What Republicans will be sort of national figures then that aren't now? It's just so far off that it's really hard to know. And if it's hard for me to know, or like, and I'm trying to be as upfront and as honest about this as possible, when it doesn't have any direct effect on my job in terms of my having a job. Like, it's not like if I do this calculation and I'm wrong and he runs, I lose my job. But that is the calculation for Republicans. And so again, if him still being the leader of the party in 3 years means that if you turn against him, he'll destroy you, all it takes is uncertainty for them to continue to want to kiss the ring, lick the boot, however you want to define it. And he certainly will be around either way. I know that Lindsey Graham is talking about campaigning with him for the midterms. And I get what Lindsey Graham is trying to do. The image he's specifically sort of sketching out there, I think, is extremely unlikely to actually happen. The idea that Donald Trump is going to seriously campaign for a bunch of other Republicans that aren't him and that have nothing to do with him at that point, that seems unlikely. The only reason I can imagine happening at all is so that he can line up more sycophants, like choosing primary challengers and then giving them his support so that they will owe him even more. Maybe for that, but even then I think it's going to be begrudging. I don't think that he's going to spend a lot of his time or his effort. But anyway, I don't have an answer. I still think that it's unlikely, but I will be reevaluating that as time goes on. I think that that is the only reasonable approach to this. But it does matter if you think that what the Republicans do matter, and if you understand that what they do depends on what they think about Trump's future behavior. So this is a conversation that we're going to have to keep having, because as for now, it's a powerful enough effect that it still caused him to acquit him, even after the obvious guilt that he had in what happened on the 6th. Okay, totally sounds like Lynnwood is asking for blackmail material. Jander says, is Anyway Dragon available? Oh wait, can I have Doom Dragon if not taken? You can have it. It's yours. Doom Dragon. Can you keep this badge forever? Okay, so Pugzilla has the little dragon hatchling badge. Our YouTube members get badges that change as you're members for longer. That is a pretty cute one, but inevitably all things must pass. Seeing a lot of dragon eggs and cracked dragon eggs. Love it. Let me catch up a little bit. Dragon Mother of Feline says, loved you on Ben's show. Best way to start Monday. Thank you. I'm glad that so many people were watching. We had a lot of fun. It was a quick little segment, but always love talking politics with them. Chris Ricard says, Trump's hold on the Republican Party will be a case study for Stockholm Syndrome. Yeah, I wonder, has there been anything like this? Like, Clinton was still really influential. I guess they didn't want to turn against Clinton. Reagan, they all talked about, but it's not like he was really, like, cognizant of it. I don't know that there's really been anything like this for a while. Oh, a lot of people, looks like we're watching Ben Dixon's show this morning. That's awesome. Okay, I think I'm mostly caught up. Mrs. Blue from Lower Sioux says, if Trump runs again, it will be to raise money. Grifters will grift. Yeah, although, again, that does not... you don't have to actually really run to raise money off of it. You have to run. Graham was endorsing Laura Trump. Yeah, and maybe her name will be enough. It was enough for the Bushes for a while. I mean, does anyone know anything about Laura Trump? Does anyone know what she really stands for? Does any of that matter? Perhaps not. Eric, welcome to Tier 1 membership. Enjoy those emojis and your new dragon egg badge. Really fast. March 4th is quick coming up, the date that Trump will become president once again. Sorry if you're insane, but you're going to want to get your Washington accommodations squared away because Trump Hotels, at least on that date, the date that is the focus of a sovereign citizen / QAnon conspiracy theory, is now charging thousands of dollars. Anyway. Oh, and by the way, 6 of the Oath Keepers who were defending Roger Stone in the days leading up to the Capitol attacks apparently were involved in the riots. And all of that seems like the most obvious thing in the world. Why does Roger Stone have 6 bodyguards? I mean, I know why he'd want it, And I know why he'd think he needs it, because he is out of his mind. Who's trying to attack Roger Stone, honestly? One of the most ridiculous facets of American politics is when the right acts like everyone else is what only the right is. We don't hunt people down. We're not interested in that. That's not what we do. 6 bodyguard. I hope that he's not paying for it. I imagine he's not. These are like professional fascist cosplayers. I don't think that they necessarily need to be paid. This is their hobby after all. Mama Bear Dragon says, I don't see why he'd run again. Have a job where he's expected to care about the well-being of others. We all know he hated it in the first place. Yeah, and what would he do with it? Again, that does not mean, by the way, like, us knowing that he doesn't want to do the work and he didn't really seem to enjoy it doesn't mean he wouldn't want it again. He was rejected it. It could potentially be as simple as that. He kind of wanted to keep it. He certainly doesn't love it being taken away, and he's going to be mocked for the next couple of years. So in theory, if he could get it back, that would probably make him feel a little bit better, very temporarily, by the way. But he doesn't have that much longer to live anyway. I don't know. I imagine he's probably going to really enjoy this time. Like, he doesn't have to even pretend to do the work. He can play golf literally every day. Maybe that'll be enough. Maybe that'll be enough. Maybe if we're really nice to him, then he won't feel like he has to get it back. Jan Name says, I'd like to be Tutu Fern Dragon, please. Tutu means grandmother in Hawaiian. It's yours. Stephen Samuel says, can I have lawful good red dragon? It's an anti-racism thing. Well, I'm not familiar with that component of it, but I like lawful good red dragons perfectly fine. David says, I'm honestly more worried about a Trump Jr. in 24. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That would seem to be powerful if you assumed that Trump would actually help his son out, but I don't know that we really think that that's likely to happen. I don't think he's particularly good at this. He'll do an impersonation of Trump. Maybe that'll be enough. I mean, the bar is very low, but I don't know. I don't know if it'll be all that compelling in comparison to the real thing. Like, it's maybe sort of like a Trumpy fascist uncanny valley thing, where it's like it's reminiscent of it, but it's not quite there, and so it just makes you uncomfortable. I don't know. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for joining me for this pre-show. We've got a full show coming up. We've been talking around the edges of the acquittal, the lack of witnesses, and all that. Thank you, Endless End Dragon. So we're going to be talking about that when Francesca joins me, as well as a bunch of other news. Horrible story about the LAPD that we got to talk about. A little bit of mixed good news about the pandemic. So a lot to talk about. Hope to see you there. Oh, by the way, we're going to comment on Ted Cruz's hairstyle. So it's Francesca, and Ted Cruz's hair is coming up. So you know you're not going to want to miss it. So go get yourself some coffee. I'm probably going to have a little bit myself, and I'll see you there.